Men panic when you like astrology. Why? Because it decenters them and their needs. And you are probably not surprised by this because we've all been seeing the different Reddit posts and men complaining about women liking astrology as though it's a bad thing. Well, there's 3 different reasons, going from the least personal to the most personal, that men are terrified of astrology. So the number 1 reason is he just doesn't want you to have any interests that are outside the male gaze. So we're talking things like blue hair. That's weird. Grandpa core, not sexy. Astrology, definitely not. Why? Because it means you have an inner world, a world that you use to poetically talk about the things that you're experiencing in that world. And there's so many examples of this out on the internet. But with every complaint, it just exposes that it was never about astrology. That's not what they're fighting. It's really about losing their central role in your life. And this is the foundation of the control. It's not even just about astrology yet. It's anything that sort of takes you outside of his vision of what it means to be a woman that is attractive to him. Like a man that I dated, he found out that I was an astrologer and he told me, well, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have dated you. And that was really funny to me because what was I going to do? Just say, oh, you don't like my career choice. I'm just going to drop it now so that we can stay together. Yeah, that didn't happen. Instead, I broke up with him within hours. I think the real root of why men are turning on astrology is because of the rise of the Christian right. And of course, we all know that that is all centered around the patriarchy and women who are serving men. Astrology doesn't serve men. All it does is create an ability for us to be able to look at the world and talk about what we see. We're talking about deep things, but in a way that includes the planets and all these elements, the natural world, and colors and symbols and all of these things. They create a vocabulary that we can use, and some of the things we say don't always center men, and men hate that. They don't want to have the shadow side pointed out to them, and that's really the crux of it. And this brings me to the second reason men feel decentered by astrology, because it's not just about you liking astrology and memes and things. They know eventually you might start talking about them, and that means revealing things that wouldn't be threatening to somebody who doesn't have their guard up. Somebody who imagines that a horoscope is a lens that you could turn on them, and that's fine with them, but there's just one rule. You can only say things that pump up their ego, right? Because let's say they were an Aries and you're talking about all the great things about Aries, like you're very sporty, you're very strong. But if you happen to mention that Aries can sometimes have a temper, well, that could really trigger him, especially if he really does have a temper and he'd rather not have it called out. And it's something that he's trying to hide because he's being a performative male and he's hoping that you're not going to see his shadow side. So it's the ultimate deflection. Instead of looking inside and saying, do I have any problems with my anger ever? And, does that really resemble me? He instead is going to say, see, I told you astrology is a bad thing. He doesn't want to have a real conversation. And astrology really, when we look at it deep down, it's all really just about creating opportunities for conversation with a man that doesn't feel threatened with his masculinity and doesn't need to be the center of your world. He is totally fine with having conversations that are prompted by astrology or anything else. It's only a man that is feeling very threatened in his identity and wants to be the center of your world and wants you to reject anything that doesn't center him, that feels threatened by things like astrology. And that brings me to just spirituality in general, because what would happen if I told a man, well, you're a Christian and to me that's a red flag, and so I don't think I want to date you. And that's exactly what some men feel completely comfortable doing. They're gonna call a woman out on liking astrology as though it's a bad thing and use it as a reason to say that she is undateable. And in my opinion, that's a good thing, because a man just revealed the whole reason why he would be really difficult to date in the first place. I just dodged a bullet. But I think men realize that it goes even deeper, that they could actually be rejected because of what astrology might reveal about them. We're talking about their real intentions. And that's something that with a really good astrologer, we start to be able to see timelines. We start to see things like if a man's really able to commit at that moment, because timing doesn't lie, even when he does. Astrology can show timelines for love, and those timelines can show real intentions. In the hands of a good astrologer, you begin to see whether a man is actually able to commit at that moment. Because astrology gives us all cycles. Times when the light is green and you're ready for love, and other times when the light is red and nothing works. And meeting someone when the timing is in the red can lead to a commitment that doesn't have real attraction and, let's say, commitment behind it. And what's really powerful about these timelines is when you're doubting yourself, you're seeing red flags, but you're not sure if you should trust yourself. Should I really trust what I'm seeing? Because often we want to believe in the person in front of us. We've fallen a little bit in love, and let's just say it gets harder and harder to be able to really be sure of what we're seeing. And that's the problem with red flags. We can talk ourselves into believing that they're a little bit subjective. But the astrology is not subjective. It is just math. It's looking at the planets, looking at your chart and seeing like, yes, this was going on at this time. And when you have someone that's showing you red flags, then you also see that the astrology, the timeline, is backing that up. You stop doubting yourself, and nothing scares a man who's not in it for the right reasons than a woman who trusts her intuition. And once again, this is decentering men, because men would like you to put aside your fears about red flags and just accept them. They want to be able to do what they want to do and still have their cake and eat it too. The good news is astrology doesn't decenter the right men, only the ones who need you confused enough to stay in a situation where you forget yourself and center him. Don't do it. You deserve better. So I hope this gave you some perspective on how astrology can decenter men, at least men who are very easily decentered. It's not going to decenter the men that are right for you, in my opinion, because even the men that I've dated that don't care about astrology, it's not their thing, they don't make a big deal about the fact that I like it. And to me, that is a green flag. If you like this video and you're curious about your own timing, go ahead and click the link below in the description. I've got a free 7-day astrology dating forecast that shows you your green and your red light cycles. Go ahead and get yours now.